Yeah, right now you really need Lori here, who is injured, to serve up some juice. Right now you are at the long wall TNL, which could work to your advantage, but we're going to actually be seeing Eric breaking chase here. Going to double check up in on this generator that we know had some progress up on this top left. You can hear that thing behind us. That thing's knocking like a Ford in the middle of the winter. That thing's just about ready to go. We also have some scratch marks around here, which if you can get this flick here is absolutely disgusting. Hey, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube, and let's get ready for another trip here back into the fog with some more Blood Moon League action, and we are deep into the group stage portion of the tournament here, and every set point, every point differential could potentially matter when it comes to not only seeding, but whether or not you even get into the elimination stage, and that's exactly where we're at in Group B here with both Ruby Wolves and Theory. So this matchup between these two teams really means a lot. So we're actually going to be getting started off right away with the Oni on the Cold Tower. Then we're going to be seeing the Deathslinger on the Suffocation Pit. And then the third set, if needed, will be the Plague on Azerov's resting place. Don't forget every like, comment, share. That all helps us out with that good old YouTube algorithm and gets our content in front of more people as we do chase down 500 subscribers on the channel over here this summer, where we're posting literally daily everything from competitive DBD to discussional videos like my ideas on the most recent killer. So don't forget to check down below, make sure you've hit that subscribe button, and then tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about it. And if you do want to keep up with what the Wolfpack has going on as far as competitive DBD, as always, I'm also going to have their links down in the description below. But let's go ahead and get to this matchup that you guys clicked on, Ruby Wolves versus Theory. And until we catch y'all back here for the next one, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out. All right, let's take a trip here back into the fog, getting things kicked off here in matchup number 1. And we're going to be actually finding a survivor very quick. This is tough. That's going to be an M1 on the backside of the shack here. So we're already going to start accruing up a whole lot of these blood orbs, especially thanks to that splintered hole add-on there. I mean, we're seeing already just about ready for that power here. We're not even 45 seconds into this trial. There's going to be shack pallet thrown as well. So, I mean, honestly, a really good start here for the Oni. The question is, do we use this power to put pressure across the map or try and establish this down? I would imagine with the 3-gen being uncovered and intact. Oh, it gets done stupid up on the top side of the map. That's probably where we'll be seeing Eric go with this power here, right?
Yeah, it would be a really nice start if you get the survivor down without the power, but this is not going to be the case here. Fats is taking some distance after this unfortunately very early hit here in the main building. The Oni now destroying these breakable walls here with the brutal strength for later. So this setup around the resource is already happening. The survivor at the main building is getting interrupted, but is leaving early using the window here. But remember, the Oni just broke these walls, so the only resource left is going to be the pallet. Nice patience and confidence there by our survivor, trying to move into the midsection, and he is going to make that successfully. Nice and important stun here as well. Even though they took a first hit here, it's not looking too bad for our survivor team.
Yeah, the only thing I do worry about, Dyer, looking around, we've already kind of gotten rid of quite a few of our resources. We do have a down here before the first gen pops as well. And I think we had seen not only a TNL up here in the top right, but I think also in that bottom left-hand portion of the map as well. So when we talk about the few other pallets already being removed and then having tiles like that don't even have pallets, our survivors got to start really being careful about their resources and also start cranking out these gens, which is really tough to do.
Yeah, it is now going to be really tough because Oni also managed to get one of these stages at the top side here. We see the beautiful and typical Cold Tower 3-gen here at the top side. That's really what you are aiming for. Eric now trying to mind game the survivor. It's going to be successful. It's going to be another hit, and that means power coming out very soon. Therefore, it's important to get these quick saves and moving towards the bottom side. But there's more blood here at this generator, so the power available straight again. And I do think at this point it's hard to say, as we are just 2 minutes into the trial here, but Ruby Wolves needs to survive one of these powers in order to gain the pressure back.
Yeah, right now you really need Lori here, who is injured, to serve up some juice. Right now you are at the long wall TNL, which could work to your advantage, but we're going to actually be seeing Eric breaking chase here. Going to double check up in on this generator that we know had some progress up on this top left. You can hear that thing behind us. That thing's knocking like a Ford in the middle of the winter. That thing's just about ready to go. We also have some scratch marks around here, which if you can get this flick here is absolutely disgusting.
That was a really nice hit onto Fruit here, and I do think our survivor is feeling a little bit bad for this one, but he is thrown onto a hook here in a second. Once again at the top side, the survivors do not manage to go towards the bottom side, and Q, we're talking about what worries us, right? I'm worried about this generator count.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we don't have at least one. I know we've had quite a few injured states. You talked about the early hit. We've now had 2 downs and hooks. But unless we have multiple gens across the way, which is really your only saving grace right now, at that same roundabout progress that we were up at that top left. Of course, that top left did take the pop kick as well. Maybe you might see a couple of these things popping in sequence here, but even you see that pallet space behind us. I believe that's one of those pallets we've already used, already been thrown, already broken and out of the way. So we're talking about a map that is starting to really run out of these resources for our survivors as well. We're going to be seeing Eric using that demon dash, moving across the back of the main building here, checking in on this generator up at the top right. I think we located us a survivor out here on the back edge of the map. That's actually going to be the Fang with the down here as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really tough one now once again, because this hook is going to be big for Eric. Once again, at the main building in your 3-gen. Once again, the survivors not with enough time to knock one of these crucial generators out, not breaking the setup yet. And furthermore, it is going to be the basement here into the struggle phase as well. So in just 60 seconds, it's going to be the removal from the trial here for this first survivor. And on 4 generators remaining, that would be really, really bad. So what we either need here for Team Ruby Wolves is at least 2 generators being completed, or we need a serious trade and then both survivors moving towards the bottom side. Otherwise, this is going to be a huge mistake.
Oh no, and now we've got our friend Nia getting caught up on the top of the cold tower here. This is probably the survivor that was trying to set up for that save. Now I've got a question for you, Dyer. You've got more than likely the survivor who was going to try and play the stealthy setup for the save, who is now injured and can't move in. Is this the time for the Ruby Wolves to sacrifice this survivor and make sure that you get not only that generator, but at least one, hopefully a 2nd gen on top of that?
I think that's going to be the play. Yes, they are already sending over, and Fruit now missing a skill check here as well, shortening down the hook time once again by just a few seconds. And a few seconds is something huge in the position of Ruby Wolves right now, because this position is not looking too great. The 3-gen still intact, if I'm not mistaken here. On the top side, we do see 2 in the distance, and it might start being a point calculation for Team Ruby Wolves. We do also detect the next survivor, L, on this TNL over here. He needs to make sure that he stays a little bit alive, and we are yet to repair generator number 3. This is a very, very inefficient gen pressure right here. It is not the performance we need to see in this part of the game. A beautiful game here. Late reaction from L, leading into the down here. That's going to be another basement hook into the 3-gen setup here. This is horrendous for our survivor team.
Yeah, this is absolutely awful. I mean, we're talking about now another basement hook, which realistically is going to require more than likely the remaining 2 survivors to have to come in for this save. Now, you do have 120 seconds of hang time, so kind of back to that same scenario, right? You kind of have the ability to allow a little bit of hang time here if you want to at least crush some gens. There's generator number 3. Getting yourself a 4th generator here would be huge, right? Because that at least allows your killer coming out here for Ruby Wolves to then be able to play themselves into a 3-gen and then shut the thing down right there. So really, you need to prioritize getting a 4th gen, and I think with having this much hang time, you might see our 2 survivors just double up on that far gen.
Yeah, and this is basically what we have predicted, right? That it might becoming a point calculation here at this point, and not about the stages anymore. It might be limited to just getting the objectives out of the way here. There's one survivor leaving though, so they are not even going onto this file generator, making sure at least these 2 points are coming in. And this is a risky strategy, right? Because the idea of breaking this 3-gen might be really nice, but the Oni has the power, and the Oni also has a lot of time here, so it might be too late going for this generator setup. And in this case, I do have to agree with you, you might want to knock out the Shack Jet.
And it's really unfortunate when you look around it, right? Because we know a couple of these top jets, oh my goodness, yeah, unfortunately vaulting right into the Oni, definitely not going to be the move. We do see, though, the unhook came in across the way at the same time. We're going to be seeing Eric closing the distance here. You can probably assume borrowed time there. The question is, where is the other survivor? Are they in a... potentially inside a locker would be my guess. Peekaboo? Nope, not going to be that one. If they're not in the other one, that actually allows our survivors to get out of the basement potentially. Also pick up that down survivor across the way. However, there is going to be the Nancy Fats found in the back of our basement. Now going to get put onto this hook. We all have a name for it. You put it whatever name you want on it, but that's going to be a tough place to get this survivor from.
This is going to be really tough. The only good thing right now is that you have 2 minutes of hang time, right? That's kind of the positive aspect here for the Ruby Wolves. With the power, we already see the blood bank that is basically spread across the cold tower at this point. Wherever you go, you get your power ready. There it is. Lori has been located as well. We really would like to see generator number 4 here, because I do think this is the play for Ruby Wolves, and getting these 2 points in will be really crucial. Nia is going down, so Dan now, the last standing survivor in the trial, needs to make a decision, sticking to a generator or preparing for the end game play here. That is going to be the difficult part, and this progress on the bottom side is barely anything. The survivors not even working on this file generator here that was unprotected the entire time here by Team Theory. So I do think, without going too much into negativity here, I do think we saw a survivor team that kinda defeated themselves.
Yeah, I did realize, though, I didn't get to complete a point because we had seen the vault into the Oni, who went back to check in on the basement hook. But what I was going to mention before was all 3 of these top gens have a decent amount of pressure, and we know that a couple of them have received a couple of pop kicks, so you just can't help but feel a little bit of sympathy in the fact that if just one of these survivors had been able to bring some of the juice, right, go on one of these 30, 40, 45 second juicer runs, one of these 3 gens gets popped, which then makes that back gen get popped. Now we're talking about, because you're not worried about breaking up the 3 gen anymore. You have the availability to work on the gen that's the furthest away. Now we're talking about potentially worrying about guarding doors and getting stages out. So I think the biggest, downfall here was just unfortunately not being able to get any of those. You just needed one, right? One chase to be about 40, 45, 50 seconds. Gives you enough time to crush one of those top 3 gens out, and then you're Gucci from there, you know?
Yeah, I think it was one of these matches where you had not the early game you're looking for, and then things were kind of falling apart, because sometimes in the mid game we have seen a glimpse of the right idea. That's what we need to point out towards our survivor team here. We have seen the will to get on these 3-gen setups in the top side. It was just too late and too inefficient. As you mentioned, the time was not really put up by the chases, and then also not correctly used to get these generators out of the door. And that, on the other hand, means that we need to give a huge shout out to Eric from Team Theory here, because putting these survivors in such a difficult place and cutting down the chase times that much is a lot of work on the killer side, especially as an Oni. So therefore, really strong work here by Eric for Team Theory. It is going to be a score of 28-6, and looking onto this 22-point difference, what is going to be your plan as Ruby Wolves killer?
Oh man, this is probably going to be one of those situations. I mean, you'd probably know the balancing better than me. Before I say something, would this be a situation where Devour hoping to come out, or is Devour not allowed on Oni?
That's allowed, and I honestly, that might be the pick here.
I mean, Devour is Pentimento, maybe even you go Devour, Pentimento, Ruin, and just like hope that if the Ruin Devour plan doesn't work out, then you just kind of hope and pray that the 2 different tokens used 2 different times with the 30% slowdown buy you enough time to be able to shut the game down before a 4th gen pops. I feel like it's a tough situation to hand over to the killer, so I feel like you just got to put all your cards on the table and, you know, kind of roll the dice. You can't be mad at the result, but you just kind of got to go in, just all gas, no brakes, you know?
Yeah, and even if that doesn't work, a good game on your killer side, because our Ruby Wolves killer is also going to play back-to-back, right? So he's not only in a difficult spot right now, he basically needs a good game to go really refreshed and in a good mental state into that second set here. So we are going to see trial number 2 here, Ruby Wolves under pressure, 28-6 after the first trial, and we are going to show you that straight after a little break. Welcome back, everybody, to the second trial. It's now the Ruby Wolves on the killer side here with Cyber, and that is going to be quite some pressure on the shoulders of our killer player here. We are with a score of 28-6. That means you can only lose 2 generators here if you want to win, 3 generators if you want to play set number 1 once again. So this first chase here is going to be really important. The survivors do not want to hand over blood as soon as possible here. And for now, that seems like a quite confident and good located first chase here.
Yeah, you definitely like taking this first chase here back at the shack here. It looks like it's going to cause our killer here to go ahead and break chase, come back towards the middle of the map here. We do have kind of more of our typical 3-gen corrupt up here on the top side of the map. This 1-gen, as far as up in the top left, is kind of rotated a little bit more central. Could potentially play out into our killer's favor here, depending on how quickly we can establish our first down. Worth noting, no Devour just coming in with the Ruin here, and I'll be interested to see how long and how much value, or how long that stays up and how much value we get out of it here. But it's going to be interesting. You know, you come in with a perk like Pain Resonance, and I understand that it means you don't have to go actively pop the gens, right? But I feel like then you're forced to have to go to particular hooks, whereas pop, you just pop somebody up on a hook and you go kick a gen, right?
Yeah, it is going to be the crucial thing about all the pressure, right? This is what Cyber really needs to build up here. Nice one. A little bit too much patience here by our survivor on this pallet, but still wasted quite some time, and that's already punished with the first generator here. Really good work by Theory. There's the power now, and I do think you need 1 down minimum here. You might even need to slug to create some chaos across the map here, because otherwise Theory, especially now with the second generator done, it's all about tie or lose. Nice one.
Yeah, really good job to get this down, but you talk about now at this point being at the almost tie or lose condition, gonna have to go for some slugs. Need to get some value out of that Lion's Fang, which gives us an additional 10 seconds here in the power, trying to see if we can find ourselves another survivor. Thus far, though, we do see that they've done a really good job playing immersive, not leaving those scratch marks behind. We are gonna be seeing the Demon Dash more back towards this side of the map. We do locate, I think it was maybe traces of a survivor. Oh, there it is. It's actually 2 downs. 2 downs. Remember, the first one was in shack. This one being close to shack. This could be really big here.
Yeah, this is going to be the chance Cyber was looking for. You need to be quick now. There's an pickup across the way due to the perk bans. We know that this must be a survivor that is rotating over there. So that leaves only 1 person on the generator, but 1 person might still be enough here for Cyber. That might still... for Theory, I mean, that might still be enough to knock out Cyber here with a 3rd generator, and that would be set number 1 being already decided. So the pressure is high, and you don't really have the time to tunnel out this survivor, because you need to make sure that you push the survivors away from the objectives here. Hex Ruin in the trial as well, so I'm not entirely sure if focusing this tunnel out here is the play you need.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting, though, because at least if you're following this survivor, you can get these last couple blood orbs, I was going to say, and then use the power here to be able to put pressure onto those gens. Unfortunately, though, that sound notification across the way, that was the Hex Ruin, now getting cleansed. You don't have the 200% regression whenever you let off of those gens. That really, I mean, honestly means you need to get big value here out of this next use of this power. I mean, I don't really know where you put the pressure out. You talked about not really wanting to worry about the tunnel out just quite yet. We know we have 1 person back here. We see the, big savings account of blood orbs, but if we're still focused on this survivor, that's 3 other survivors that are split up just trying to complete the last gen for the tie condition or the last 2 gens for the win condition. again, this has got to be big value here.
Now, good work once again by Theory. Survivors here not becoming down too quickly. A nice work around these trees here as well. And this is going to be the next use of power. Now, Cyber as the winner here. 3 generators still standing. Cyber realizing the slug is needed, and you do need quite some downs here. They might be in the main building. They might be on the top right side next to the main building. We do see that a little bit of progress is over here. We see some scratch marks as well. The power is about to run out though, so this needs to be a really, really nice play. And it's coming out. Great job by Cyber here, but it might still not be enough. But Ruby Wolves putting up a very impressive fight here.
I was hoping maybe we might have had a pallet save enjoyer just for the funsies. Not going to be the case though. You did see pretty well as we picked up the survivor in the pallet space though. We also had to pick up on our survivor across the way. It also looks like they're resetting relatively quickly here as well, which is going to be unfortunate because that means they're not leaving those blood orbs behind, right? That means they're just going to be able to continue to just pre-leave the generators as they hear the terror radius. I think you should have enough blood orbs, yeah, to get one more use of the power, but I think that's going to pretty well deplete the map at least. Otherwise, for what blood orbs will be dropped after this use of powers. Of course, while in the power, the survivors will not be dropping them. Get stunned, stupid, says our survivor here, moving in towards... Oh, I thought they were going to go towards our TNL. Probably going to be retreating that way. Yeah, now after the pallet's getting broken, instead, Cyber here going to need to break away and really needs to find themselves not only a down, I would really say 2 with these last like 2/3 of the power here.
Yeah, Cyber is constantly in the situation where he needs 2 downs with 1 power, and so far he is really, really meeting up these high expectations we are putting up here, and the win condition is putting towards him, but he is still fighting and he's still playing a really, really impressive match here. Theory struggling to get the gen pressure into the 3rd objective here. Now it seems to be really silent on the cold tower here. Theory going for a stealthy approach on the power, and it is running out now. That might be the play they needed here, and that might have been the play they were looking for. Really, really good management here by Team Theory. Now with this survivor going down here in the corner of the map, kinda, it is going to be quite some time for the team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they even double up on one of these top generators.
Yes, I'll be honest, I'm kind of intrigued that we haven't seen at least us get to the tie condition yet, right? I feel like we've been at this 2 gens done for a while. I mean, it could be because they're split up across multiple gens. Maybe as one gen pops, the other one pops, and then, you know, we're having a completely different conversation. It is intriguing, though, now what our killer has to do, because now the only person that is going to be dropping those blood orbs is the survivor that did just get picked up off the ground. I actually completely forgot about this big old savings account of those back here on the back of the shack, but that's not quite enough to get us used to the power. Now using it here, but we're again kind of back. I feel like we're back in the same story. We need 2 downs, but if the survivors wait it out, the game completely turns on its head here.
This is now going to be a few mind games around this little tile here. Our survivor about to face Cyber's power, but dodging it successfully. Really, really good work here. Now trying once again, and still the time is taken from the killer. It's still taken in this location. So same as in trial number 1, I need to ask the question where the generator pressure is and where the efficiency of the survivor team is. It does give some opportunities to Cyber here, and he will feel really, really good that he's able to defend this 3rd generator really good. And remember, we talked about the mindset, right? So even if you lose the 3rd generator here, Cyber so can look back onto a trial where he was really, really able to meet high expectation that might push him in a good spot for the 2nd killer match here.
Yeah, I think right now, knowing that you're this close, right? Because even if we're talking about falling short with the 4K, even with 1 gen standing, you know that you did that well against the same survivor squad that's going to be coming out in the next trial here. We hear this generator, though. That thing's a knock and getting ready to get to popping. We do see Cyber does have the power, though. Going to be interesting. Does look like we're going to go ahead and quickly use our Demon Dash to go across the map to check in on this generator. There is generator number 3 popping across the way, so we're now at least to the tie condition. But We know that the one back over in the opposite corner of the map where we just came from had a whole lot of progress on it. Means we really need a down here to be able to use maybe a potential pain residence, but instead there it is. That's going to be generator number 4, which is already going to be setting ourselves with a set point here for the for Team Theory.
Yeah, I think now Cyber's focus is going to be a nice result here, a nice stage counter, preventing a few survivors from going for the escapes, because if Theory would take a few outs here as well, that would really push them for the second set here. It is now going to be the down here at Shack, but you still have 3 survivors in the trial here that can work on that final generator. So if Cyber is able to get a few additional downs here, push the stage counter above 6, 7, 8 stages mark, that would already be a really strong move here.
And we are going to be seeing those auras across the way there from the pain residence, which is tough because we also see this generator here that was not hit by the pain residence has a whole lot of progress. Yeah, I was going to say that thing has to be just about ready to go. So there is going to be generator number 5 getting popped. Means we're now officially into the end game. Our survivors don't have to worry about the generators. Honestly, our last 2 survivors could really just simply go to the door across the way and just simply get out. It does look like, though, they are going to go ahead and go for the save. And understandable, right? If you can get all 4 survivors out the door here, would really be sending a message.
Yeah, that's a good point to mention here. If they go for a 4 out, which is basically what Eternal is trying to put up every single time, so, what a nice one onto this survivor, saying no to the 4-man escape plan here, because that would be indeed a very huge sign for Team Theory. Now going back towards this exit gate here, towards the top side, not finding a survivor over here. Theory once again putting it a little bit slow. Actually, there's someone, don't mind me. There was a beautiful flick here, so Cyber seems to warm up for the Deathslinger already.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you had mentioned earlier that how much we had been asking Cyber to need to get 2 downs with each use of the power, and how often they had been able to do that through the trial. Kind of only makes sense that they're able to end the trial with it. Unfortunately, not going to be able to capitalize with 2 hooks, but at least you had mentioned you're still able to get those hook stages. You're still able to say, hey, you know what? We were able to put up a solid performance here. Now we slow things down. Now we get ready to go as far as with the Deathslinger set. As you had mentioned, of course, the Deathslinger set is going to require a different set of strategies. And maybe, since this is Ruby Wolves' pick, maybe they have the strategies needed to win set number 2 and force a 3rd set.
It is going to be a recovery challenge for Ruby Wolves here, because with this score, it is going to be very tough, right? It's a sign. 46-17 is a sign from Team Theory, and that's a really clear sign that is sent there. So Cyber had a few very nice moments in his kit around here, and I think this is what you really need to focus, right? The Survivor team might even say, we do need to make sure, focus your strength, focus the positive moments you have gotten in the trial. Also correction, housekeeping, it's a 44-22 here for the final score, but it's still a double up score, right? So Theory finishing set number 1 really confident. So yeah, we need a serious turn of events here for the Slinger.
Yeah, and I mean, the good news for you again, I mean, at least this is your pick, so there should be some comfort there, right? But I think this is where you just have to go in between, this time in between trials. You have to remember, hey, we can't necessarily win this matchup in this next set, but we can lose it. So we have to at least make sure we come in, put our best foot forward, and then force a set number 3. It's like we can't play it safe anymore. You got to put all the chips on the table to make sure you give yourself a chance to really do what you need to do. So going to be interesting to see what kind of response Ruby Wolves can put together here, and we'll be bringing the Deathslinger set to y'all after a very quick break. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog. Going to be starting off on the Deathslinger here, and as we had mentioned before heading into the break, Ruby Wolves really needing to turn things up a notch here, making sure that they can take set point number 2, forcing set number 3. And it is interesting when we talk about bringing in is looking down here at the build, right? Seeing the Thanatophobia brought in, I would say, on a Deathslinger shows some confidence, but I feel like it's not often in a Slinger game you're getting 3-4 injured states, like say on a Nurse or a Blight, where you're getting really big Thanatophobia value, right?
Yeah, it is an interesting pick here, and usually we do see it combined with an add-on that causes the mangled status effect, so you do get I think it's the spikes, where you do get a little bit of indirect pressure also from the healing that takes a little bit longer. Thanatophobia on its own requires a very, very strong Slinger gameplay. Would have been something for Wispy if I have to think about a very confident Slinger here, but Cyber seems to be confident as well. But for now, Theory kinda going back into the Oni mid game, but they really turned the things around when they went for a little bit of a stealthier approach, and that seems to be the case here, and we haven't seen that in a while. Slinger on Sapphopit is usually not a match where you hide out Corrupt Intervention, but right now they're doing perfectly.
Yeah, and it's interesting here. You haven't left any signs, like any traces, right? And we're about to be seeing this Corrupt Intervention here now has expired. So now the entire map into play. You have now basically gotten rid of one of the perks. We're resetting things back here with the start of the trial. Now the only question that I can't help but ask myself, as far as from the survivors of Theory, that time where they weren't found, were they all still stuck on the Corrupt side of the map? Or were they able to kind of split a couple people across and maybe start attacking this 4-gen that is on the main building side? I mean, we do see the sound notification back here in this corner, so I guess we're going to have to wait and find out.
Yeah, Theory smashing it. 2019 comp players here that need a tutorial on how to hide out Corrupt Intervention. This is your tutorial by Team Theory. Absolutely perfect start into the game here. 2 minutes, 1 perk completely taken out of the game. 7 objectives there to be attacked now. And this is going to be a ton of trouble, right? Usually you want to find your first survivor really early, and then you are aiming for a down in Corrupt, maybe even getting into the next chase. So not finding a survivor for such a long time, that's really doing something with your mind.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's going to be important too for the survivors here is you got to make you've almost got to make like the double pay for the killer here, right? One, now they've lost a perk. Now at this point, you've got to make sure you spread the pressure, because if you only have 1-2 people on a gen, and they're only just now touching the gens because they are playing, a little bit more immersive, they've got to crank these things out. Otherwise, if we get, a down and then you're needing multiple people to come in for the save, it's almost like that stealth out works in the reverse favor. We are going to see, though, there's already generator number 1 popping. It does look like that's going to be in the 3-gen that was back on the Shack side. So not sure where we're at as far as progress on the 4-gen over here. We can see, though, as the 2nd-gen pops, the 4-gen is still intact.
Now doing a really good job on getting some injuries across the board here. That is going to be the down, but it is quite late, right? You do have some objectives removed from the trial already. I'm pretty sure they're sitting on these generators. 3 survivors still healthy. So once again, back to the Thanatophobia. It's not really putting up the value yet that we are hoping to see.
There's going to be our first hook of the game here. Now the question is, can we find true value out of something other than the Thanatophobia, right? Because right now you've only got the 5%. Maybe we can find ourselves a gen to get a good 25% regression on with this Pop Goes the Weasel. It is interesting to hear, though. It doesn't sound like our survivor squad has really been able to really start cracking into this 4-gen. So they did do a good job, like, prolonging the first gen, or prolonging the first down. Yes, they then did a good job of getting 2 gens done quickly after the first chase started. Yes, but it looks like when we talk about the long game here, we got to break this 4-gen up, right?
Yeah, we really, really need something here. And this is actually... I don't know if Cyber was so chill because he was waiting for this 4-gen, and he knew it's going to come into play anyway. So in this case, really good job on that management with the resources. But this actually has more potential than it looked like.
We do hear the one behind us, though. It looked like it had a decent amount of progress. Unfortunately, strayed just a little too far away from the hook. Looks like we're going to try and cut him off on the opposite side of the big pile of logs. We do have an extra body here to try and play as a diversion. Oh, that's big. That's the generator that we were not at. So that, now we're going to be seeing the For the People play as well here to prevent the tunnel out, because we did see the second stage force. So even though I think it will be showing down there in the bottom left-hand corner that there's still one stage, it was indeed forced there. So it is the second stage there, which means if this survivor goes down, that's a 3v1 now.
Now going to see that Cyber is trying to take the down at the shack here. This is going to be a little bit of safety for our survivor. We are also away from the edge, and that was a nice one onto the ace here through the window. The down coming through here, so this is going to be next hook stage, but you have left your generators here towards the bottom side. So Theory very likely hopping onto the objectives at the top side. It is going to be a basement hook, but I'm not too sure how much Theory is going to worry, because 3 survivors, yeah, but if they knock out this generator setup there on the top side in exchange for this kill, they might be in a very good space here.
Yeah, the question is, I feel like the one back corner, isn't that the one that we had walked? No, that wasn't the one we walked over to. It was actually the gen that we had gotten complete. So we hear a little bit of progress on this one that we just walked by. Not too much. This generator, though, has a decent amount, right? I mean, we see fourth piston has a little bit of motion to it. It's not fully pumping, but probably around 10 seconds of objective needing to be done on there. That's only a dry kick. No pop goes the weasel. Then we get another dry kick here as well. So at this point, I mean, what do we do here, right? I feel like for the survivors, they're going to be playing it really patient. I feel like it's going to be really on our killer here to force a mistake.
Yeah, it is. Wait. Actually deciding to go towards the generator setup again. Wants to make sure that the progress is not too far here. We do see this triangle has a huge potential if you do get a hook stage in here, if you can drag the survivors back towards the top side. But this doesn't seem to be the case. Theory also leaving very early from these objectives, making sure they are coming with some distance, they are leaving with some distance and taking the time constantly here. And Cyber now struggling once again to find a survivor. This is what we have seen from Theory in the Oni match. I don't want to make an analyze too quickly here after 2 trials, but it seems to be a talent from Team Theory that they are really able to find the perfect moment, all of them pulling back, and then come as a completely reorganized team.
Yeah, I think it shows a lot of like the communication and chemistry, right? Because sometimes when things start to get a little chaotic in the middle of the game, right? You've got a hooked survivor, you got somebody needing to rotate in, you have somebody yelling at somebody to rotate in while they're trying to set up on a gen. There's a lot of things that can kind of get lost in the middle of all of that, right? Which causes somebody to get caught out of position. And instead of getting the full resets like we're seeing, you end up with those unfortunate, very costly hooks here. We do see a survivor here get the shot right after they are able to make their way in through the window here. So we're at least able to force the health state change. The question is Nancy able to at least pull out of this 3-gen to allow enough space for the Dwight and the Claudette?
Oh, going to be Claudette in a difficult spot here. The shot is not coming through, so we're chasing in the triangle, but we do have a little bit of time here now behind the main building. This wall needs to be broken as well. Jay is going to be busy with the mending, might receive a full reset, so if Cyber gets it quick... Oh, wait, is she... Oh, not finding the shot here, so... This game is once again on HQ, but I do think the survivors have a little bit of more control here.
Yeah, the question is, though, if you can turn this down here with that gen that has so much progress, man, a pop would be so valuable. We see, though, it being the we're building some distance, trying to pull to the opposite side. We only need a couple of seconds across the way. I don't know if maybe we have a survivor that's able to rotate over there while we're over here by the actual I thought we were gonna be able to make a connection here. This is time though. This might be enough time for us to finish gen number 5.
And this time, once again, not finding the shot here. Now we can also feel the pressure, right? It seems to be a little bit starting on Cyber's shoulder here, knowing that you need a few more stages here. 3 so far, unfortunately, since the elimination, not really able to take over here in the trial. No one escapes death. Now coming in, you have the chance to take some additional stages here, and we are with the doors at the top side. That's a good shot that allows you to go for a slug, maybe. It's not too far to the exit gate here. Maybe Theory not instantly at the gate. It is not going to be the case. Even here, the Survivor team is on point, and Deathslinger actually allows an unbreakable here. So Cyber needs to be careful with that slug in the main building.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, if we had unbreakable, it'd be coming into play just about now. And there it is. And we know where they've got to get to. The question is, do they have the capability of getting there? Of course, we're going to be seeing these scratch marks. This isn't the safest of pallets to be playing around with. I feel like right now, if I were the killer, I'd really just be trying to make sure I keep my patience. You can play the zone out time all day here, right? I mean, the time is really of the essence for Claudette, not for you.
Yeah, the time is going to be fine for... I really like the laser show behind the... Could we see that again, please? This nice laser show with the beamer. That was kind of nice. Yeah, there was the flashlight. More of that, please. But yeah, Cyber might just go for the 7 points. You're not taking any risk and just letting the timer do the work. This is going to be the vault into light, actually. Good that Cyber is not swinging too early there. Laser show once again, and this is going to be the finisher here. So you do get 3 additional stages, but we also have to say that 2 survivors are walking out of the door completely fresh.
Yeah, and I think the fresh is going to be the big news here, right? Because that makes it so much easier for your killer now coming out in set number 2, the set that you need to win to force set 3, right? Like right now, this is where you could see the tide start to turn a little bit, because you don't even need to get the full eliminations if you can spread the pressure across the multiple, as long as you get all 4 fresh, right? I think then you're talking about probably need to be around what, like 7 stages if you allow 3 out the door, but it's still like very manageable.
Yeah, you have to play a very, very strong survivor game here, but if you have a good start, we have seen Theory going for a very different approach here. Once you are with the control over the match, you can really slam some things. You can just slam through the gens, take some outs here, so it is definitely not impossible here with the 16 to 14, 16 going to Theory, 14 going to Ruby Wolves. We are going to take a short break, and then we are going to show you trial number 4. And this might be our final trial between Ruby Wolves and Theory. They would take the win if, in theory, they are getting at least all the generators done and then taking 7 stages out of the door here. We need to be careful though, as we have a lot of fresh hooks from Team Theory out of the door in the last trial. 2 of them that is pushing the win condition by 1 stage here if all survivors are hooked. So 5 stages across the board would be enough. That's a good start for our Nancy here, doing a good job with that first dodge. This is going to be the pallet leaving the trial behind the main building, but we are a little bit interrupting the active generators here, and also Theory's killer able to start the first chase way earlier than Cyber did.
Yeah, the question though is, with the chase getting started earlier, does that also maybe potentially allow our survivors to start cranking these generators a little earlier, right? I feel like right now, this chase still very, very important. Nice shot from range here though by Eric to be able to get the lorry before able to round that corner there at the TNL. So that is going to be a down around the 80-second mark here in the trial. Should be able to rotate this survivor a little bit more back towards the towards the corrupt side of our map, and this could be setting up for a nice comfortable time on this side of the map, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is once again a very good suffocation pit. Topside is cyber headed as well for Team Ruby Wolves. Our killer realizes that as well, especially if you have it corrupt, right? Your first hook already there, you don't even need to worry about 3 of these generators being repaired any time soon. And our survivor is taking a hit and making a little bit of distance here, but the pop kick is being prioritized. That's very understandable with this beautiful 4gen here at the top side. Our killer doing a good job being aware of his setup. That is going to be a safe, but the wait out for the borrow time, is that going to be enough? It is going to be enough. The mending timer is applied, so that is a little bit of longer reset time, but if you manage to get all survivors towards the bottom side, that would be a huge play here.
Yeah, especially seeing as we've already gotten a gen done, it looks like over on this side of the map, so we can allow for a little bit of room to be able to heal, right? We do see some scratch marks, though, chasing and moving back towards the shack, and for that reason, Eric also going to be moving back this way. There's going to be the shack pallet getting thrown with reckless abandon, and understandably so, trying to avoid the tunnel out. Nice shot from distance, not going to be able to find the connection, however. So now if you can keep... Oh, gets done, stupid. Plus 10 wood added the face. I was gonna say, if you can keep this aggro back in this corner, this, yeah, it might result in an elimination, but it would allow you enough time to break the, or not elimination, be a second hook, but eventual potential elimination, but allow you to break apart that 4gen that we are currently not able to defend.
Yeah, it is a chance here if we get this down really quickly, especially with this wind condition, right? If you get this down really, really quickly, and there was a nice shot around the corner here, then you might have enough time to get your stages together. This is going to be the second one in this trial, then going down once again. So this also means that this survivor has progressed towards the second stage here. So 60 seconds from now, this survivor would be removed from the trial. There's one generator, but we do need a few additional generators here in case Dan is going to die on hook.
Yeah, I feel like, though, with the time that we've bought away from this top side, we should have created enough room, I would hope, for our survivors here. We do see, though, the reset also comes in across onto the Nia here. Might be more of a reason for them to potentially send in a survivor or two, try and go for the save, prolong the elimination process here by more time for our survivors across the way. Again, continue cranking out these generators, because right now we still have 3 more to go before we have to worry about getting some stages out the door. And you had mentioned it, our survivors at this point, especially if we do see the elimination, are going to have to really manage how many or how few stages get handed over from there.
Oh, 2 survivors being here, that's going to be important for the save, and the double save doesn't work.
That was beautiful.
Is taking a hit.
Gorgeous.
It's not going to be enough, and the survivor is dead. 2 survivors rotating over to go for the double save here, and none of them is able to get the mate from the hook here. So that also means the gen pressure limited to just 1 person. And if you then add a wonderful shot like that, then you really, really deserve that additional hook stage that is now coming through. And Theory is now just a few stages away from taking this very important match here with a 2-0.
And I don't want that to sound so much even, I don't think that was so much a mistake as far as on the unhook. I think that was a beautiful play by Eric there on the first M1 to then be able to situate or put your body into a place where the second survivor who is uninjured, who is intending to go for the save, could. Then that means both survivors are injured, plus you aren't able to get the save, which resulted in that hook that is back there on that side of the map. Now the pressure really being on our survivors here. Now not only do you need to go get that hook, you need to get 2 more generators done and not be on the ground.
Yeah, it is going to be really, really tough here. We need this save and then basically no additional stage for our survivor team here. We only have 1 survivor left. They are going for the unhook, but that means we are still on 2 generators and no gen pressure is currently in the trial. And this mid hook here is also quite a beautiful location. You can make sure that nobody's crossing easily to get a reset here. There's going to be a missed skill check onto the generators, so a pop kick is coming out as well. Honestly, Eric just with a phenomenal pressure here.
Whoa! Wow. Nice shot here, and of course with the prison chains, going to be able to pull this survivor as far away from the unhook as possible. Kind of surprised to see us not use the keys really quickly to get the reset or get the reload. I understand though wanting to at least make sure that you get the trade here, because if I'm not mistaken, that will be our last fresh hook. And with that, I believe that brings a decision for the set, even if they were to finish the last gens and get the save and get out, which I don't see if that's what would happen. So
yeah, that is indeed the case here. Theory just won the next snipe is coming out here. Is this the Discord screen share is a bit pixie EQ. Is that Wispy or Eric on the top side?
Yo, I don't know, but phase up, baby.
Absolutely insane. Like Theory on Slinger, they have played a double score Oni set, and now Eric here with the snipes left and right, so confident, so good defending these objectives. His overall sense also to where the pressure is going on here. So last when they played the first time, we actually said that it was a surprise that Theory knocked out Synergy in this group stage here. Now looking onto their performance today, I might need to apologize, because I think they are an absolute impressive team.
Yeah, they look very, very strong here. I mean, it's part of the reason that they were sitting 2-0 in group play heading into today. And now things get spicy when we talk about our next matchup, right? Because this is going to move Theory up to, they're going to be locked in as far as for their spot. But yeah, Theory and Synergy, depending on how their matchup goes, and when we talk about set points and point differential, one of them might be able to slide in here.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one there, because Ruby Wolves will need a little bit of help at least. They are playing against Synergy in 2 weeks. That's going to be the final, but Synergy is going to be a difficult opponent there. We have players like Meadow5, Ivan from Eternity, playing like names in the community. So you really want DKD, which are playing now against after this match here, DKD Synergy. You want that little bit help from DKD here, especially since you didn't manage to take a set point here in this current matchup.
Yeah, and I think especially too, because when you look at point differential, their point differential will swing heavy into the negative here, because we saw some very impressive performances from Theory in their 2 sets today. So if you talk about if DKD can really, or not DKD, if Synergy can really bump up their point differential in their set or in their matchup here next against DKD, they could be putting Ruby Wolves on the ropes for real.
Yeah, this is just, Theory is just a very dangerous one, and I can't wait to see them in main stage. Obviously, they have an additional match against DKD later in the group stage here, and it's going to be important if you finish group stage as first or second due to the seeding that will be done for the main stage there. But Theory, so or so, there you mentioned it, they are locked in here. They are going to be a very, very impressive team for that main stage.
And I mean, so wait, who does Theory still, or who would still have to play Theory, or are you saying Theory's done after today?
DKD is still playing against them.
Oh, so I mean, honestly, even if DKD has a strong game against Synergy and then minimizes the differential in their matchup with Theory, then they could even still theoretically move into that 2 spot too, right?
Yeah, Group B is spicy.
Kind of spicy, yeah.
Theory could, they could maybe even drop still. Might need to go a little bit.
I think Theory is locked because of their point differential after today, I would imagine.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the point difference is going to make a huge one here. Yeah, they're kinda locked. Not 100, but 99%. That's
right.
True. And after their performance here, also, if they keep up this performance, they should at least take a set against DKD. So yeah, Theory is pretty chilling there on the top side after this. But yeah, Group B is super interesting, and everything can turn around last second here. And this is why Synergy and DKD playing straight after this one, and now seeing that Ruby Wolves, currently second, dropped a lot of points here. Synergy and DKD are smelling the chance to lock in as second best in their group today.
Oh yeah, I'm sure both teams right now are kind of chomping at the bits there in Discord, getting ready for this next matchup here, right? Both saying, hey, this is our opportunity. If we can come out and 2-0 this thing, we have a chance to really set ourselves up heading into our third matchup group play to maybe still lock in a spot. So I think that should make this next matchup here very, very spicy. You had mentioned definitely going to be looking forward to seeing what Theory brings forward, not only in their last game in group stage, but definitely going to be looking forward to seeing how they look moving into the elimination stages. But here we do see one last chase here going around the TNLs. It's actually back-to-back TNLs here, which is a little unfortunate. They are long wall TNLs, so they make it a little bit easier to work around. But of course, the Deathslinger able to put those survivors into the lose-lose situation, going in that ADS at the window, kind of like we saw there. So that is going to be a down. And chat, I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me.
And what a 4K here once again by Team Theory. That is going to be... Is it a 44-22 again?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
same score both times.
So that means when you're talking about point differential, so that means you're talking about adding up 44 points to the already 53-point differential for Theory, right? So I think that's why we're doubling back to why they're pretty well, I think, wrapped up into our elimination stages after the win today. But man, everything else on Group B is all up for grabs.
Theory actually has a 75 positive point difference compared to their opponents. And Rumo, Synergy, DKD all have a negative one. That's important to mention as well. They all have a negative one, and then there's Theory at the top of Group B with 75 positive point difference over their opponents. Absolutely impressive. They have one more match in 2 weeks here, but they can go in very, very confident. And as we mentioned, there's Synergy and DKD playing now.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as see you.